morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming. I think initially this training was supposed to be, I think only for 3 or 4 people, right? Then suddenly I wake up one morning and then I get a text from Jaya that says, "Oh, guess what? We're not doing it in the office anymore, okay? Just FYI, when you're back at work next week, it'll be at Eastin Hotel." So I was like, for 4 people? Okay, that's great. And then every day I check the calendar entry. There's more and more people every few hours. So I was like, oh my, it's a real training, everyone's coming. So then I was a bit like, okay, I have to do this properly, right? So thank you guys so much for coming. Also, I think some of you actually reached out to me even before the training. I think, like for example, like Isma, thank you so much. She was reaching out to me to get materials. So I want to make sure that this experience is the best for you guys, but I really appreciate that you guys actually reach out to make sure it's the best experience for yourselves as well. So if you have any questions throughout the training, let's just have fun. Feel free to just ask any questions. Sometimes I get too excited. I might speak too fast, so just stop me whenever. Okay, all good? Yes. Alright, okay, so a lot of people told me, I know nothing about this training, but all I know is that we are learning about communication. So great, that's what we're gonna do today. Before we start, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit more. So for some of you, you see me all the time, so that's fine, be nice to me, please. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, so just to let you know, my name is Carmen. Right, for those of you who don't know me, you can just call me Carmen. Just to share with you my background, I was actually, I saw some. I don't look like I did law, okay? So I actually started off doing law, right? Because my parents really wanted me to be a lawyer, so I was like, no math, okay, I'll go into law, right? But along my journey in the legal field, I actually realized maybe this is not for me, but all I know is law, so how am I gonna do this, So I did a lot of internships here and there, right? Really trying to understand the field better, and I realized I needed a little bit more. So I actually did a double degree. So I actually did marketing on top of it. And a lot of people always like, huh, so different, how did you go from this to that, right? But I think my goal was really just to expand my horizons, so that when I started working, right, coming out to the real world, I was a bit more prepared, right? So that's a bit of my background. And I actually did a UK degree over here. Originally, I was supposed to leave the country, but I chose not to do it because because actually I was part of the Malaysian team for cheerleading. I know a lot of people are like, cheerleading, what the hell? You just go there and you shout a little bit only, right? Okay, but it's not that long, we do more than that. We do a lot of like stunting, a lot of gymnastics kind of like background that we needed to have. So I was actually doing it for about 10 years. 10 years. So we were competing in the World Championships in the States. So with that, I had to physically be here for training. So that's why I actually chose to stay here instead. And I think I wouldn't have done anything different. I actually really enjoy being in Malaysia just because, family, friends, and there's always so much I realized I don't know enough about the country, right? And just a little bit then about my work background, going into Easy, right? So you here are from Easy, right? We do a lot of management consulting, so that involves training to for certain projects that we do, right? We go into like human capital, which could be leadership programs. We do a bit of strategy, corporate strategy, helping you figure out, as a corporation, where is your direction, let's say in the next 5 years, right? Where are we really headed? And then we help the company align to that direction, right? So some other trainings that I was actually personally involved in was communication as well as digital transformation. So those are the more recent ones that we've covered. Talked a lot already. Do you guys have any questions so far?
So how long have you been in Easy?
How long have I been in Easy? Almost 3 years now.
3 years, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think I would be training at the start, but you know, here I am today.
So is this the first time you're conducting the effective two-way communication?
Not my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, not my first time, but I think each time I do it, it's been a bit different, yeah. Because depending very much also on the participants. So who I'm talking to, what really is the objective of learning this two-way communication. Yeah. So this will be a first time for all of us here today. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so now that I've talked a lot, and I heard just now some people said like, oh, very cold here, right? That table over there, very cold I wish to be a bit warmer. Okay, I will grant your wish. So, how many of you have heard of the game Simon Says? Yes, I see one or two. Okay lah, at least half the room. Half the room. Okay, so now I talked so much already. My name is Carmen. I hope you guys remember. Today we'll be playing Common Sense. Okay. Alright, so basically just to explain to you the rules of the game, right? When my sentence starts with Carmen says, that's when you actually listen to what I'm going to give you in terms of the instruction. So for example, if I say, Carmen says stand up, what do you guys do?
Stand up.
Right? Okay, so we try around now, okay? Okay, alright, Carmen says stand up. Okay, great, so everybody understood me. Okay, sit down. So if everyone who sit down, you're out. Okay. I give you. Yeah, some of them are very proud of themselves. Got it. Okay, so test around now. Okay, test around. Okay. Carmen says sit down. Okay. So far, playing this game, I think no one has managed to beat me yet. So we shall see. Today's good. Okay. We will see if you guys manage to break that streak. Okay? Ready or not? You're ready for a challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they're a little bit like, yo, Common, this is my chance. Okay. Alright. Common says stand up. Okay, Common says wave your right hand. Common says put down your right hand. Common says scratch your head. Put down your hand. Okay, those that put down your hand, please sit down. I didn't say Common says, right?
Yeah.
You're not tricked already. Wow. Okay, how many I have left? Okay, still scratching. Okay, Common says you can stop. Okay.
Okay.
Can stop scratching. Okay. Wendy has trust issues now. Alright, Common says turn around. Common says stop. Okay, Common says sit down. Okay, stand up. Common says stand up. Okay, not bad lah. This one now all on high alert already. Okay, we crank it up a notch. Okay, we see if you can really get through this, yeah. Okay, Common says right hand up. Common says left hand up. Common says right hand down. Common says wave your left hand. Scratch your nose. One down already. Oh, not bad. Okay, how many do I have? Okay, Common says stop waving your hand. What? Oh. Stop now. Okay, stop. Why you stop? Still sound like, okay, so those that keep waving because you have trust issues, you can stop. Okay, so I think there was a few here, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. This table very strong. I'm a bit scared of them, you know, they're so close to me.
Salespeople.
Very strong. this table is the only one, all sales.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Communication, guys. Okay. Alright. Okay, this girl is a bit tough, but now usually half gone already. Okay, let's try another round. We see if we can or not. Okay? Alright. Carmen says right leg up, left leg down. Okay, left leg my mom down, right? Nobody moves. Okay, very good. Okay, Carmen says right leg down. Carmen says hand on your hips. Carmen says put your right hand to the back. Put your left hand to the back. Thank you, Akil, sit down please. Okay, Carmen says right hand on your hip. Carmen says left hand on your hip. Okay, turn around. Okay, thank you, John, sit down. Dave, also pitching, sit down. Oh, this one really cannot beat. Okay, so it's BD plus finance. Okay, so 5 of you. Okay, since it's just the 5 of you, can I get you guys to come to the front? So they can see you lah, alright? Okay, everyone come to the front. Okay, thank you. You can all say, I didn't say come and say. I was staring into my eyes. Is this for real? Are you lying to me?
We got a winner here.
Yeah, he
Is
got
it
it.
move?
Yeah.
Oh! Getting up to a strong start. Okay, thank you so much, Sean. Alright. Okay, I hope you guys are a little bit warmer now, right? So just before we get started, I'm also just going to highlight to you guys what the training outcomes are for today. So you're not a bit like, what is communication, right? So just really to share you guys the objective, right? We want to learn about communication, but communication is so wide, right? So we're going to introduce to you the 4 personality types, right? So the first thing we want to be able to do is to be able to identify the 4 personality types, and then actually go into how to connect with these different personalities. Yeah? So that is what our learning outcome will be today. By the end of this training session, we will be able to identify in different ways of these 4 personality types, as well as how to effectively communicate. Alrighty? All good? All clear? Yeah. Alright, so I want to ask you guys, actually, communication, right? Is it important? Yes.
Yeah, like I talked to Sarinda.
Like you talk to her?
Sarinda. One way.
That's why you're here to learn the 2-way, okay? Alright, so we all agree that communication is important, right? But then, is communication difficult?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this one is so much stronger. First time I heard Catherine so loud, Okay. Oh, shy. Okay. So, communication, we all know, right, that it is important because it's something we do not just at work, even at home, right? So every day, even when we pergi mama, right, we want to order food, we need to communicate what our order actually is, right? So with that, don't worry, because it's difficult, we will be giving you some tools today to help with that, lah. Okay? So we talked about just now introducing the personality types, right? So I said there's 4. Any of you guys have actually heard of these 4 personality types before? I actually tell you what it is, lah. Have you all heard of this tool?
Somehow I saw it.
You heard it? I think, okay, the few easy members have heard it before, right? Because we always talk about it, right? From time to time, Jia will say during the meeting, okay, so remember the 4 personality types that we talked about? That okay, we're going to bring it into this meeting later on. So the few of them that hasn't actually gone through the meeting, sometimes they just look at me and also like, what is that? So that's why they're here today. Okay. First personality type, the relator. Right? Just based off the word relator, right? And this picture over here, what do you think the relator personality type is like? Likes to build relationship. How do you think this relator likes to build relationship? No, how does the relator communicate? They relate. So maybe help me break down into some actions, that maybe they do.
Empathy.
Yeah, many.
Sorry?
Empathy.
Empathy. So they apply empathy, right? How do they apply empathy?
So the way from the picture itself it describes how the person listens to another person, sit close to them. You literally listen to that person, so you try to understand where the person coming from, and that's how the relationship is.
Okay.
And
So
so listening, that's it, you break down our communication.
Okay. So here, I think the keyword you used was listening, right? This relator type of person, usually they listen a lot. They want to hear your opinion, right? Like, tell me more about you. What do you think? Right? So that's how they actually try to connect with the other person, right? So even, let's say, whether it's this picture or just hearing the word relator, just we heard the word relate a lot, they're actually trying to find common grounds, right? So relators usually are people, I don't know if when I'm describing this, there's somebody in mind already, right? Relators, they are not very loud. They're not very loud typically because they like one-on-one conversations, right? So like, in this picture, you'll see there's one person talking to another person, but that doesn't necessarily mean only one person, right? Usually, they prefer smaller groups, right? So there are some people we're not very sure. We're like, are they shy? Do they just not like people in general? Actually, no. Related type of people, they are very interested in knowing people, but they prefer smaller group settings, right? Smaller group settings. So, do you think the related type of person is usually louder or softer in approach? Softer, right? Because when you're in a small group, usually they are more interested in the other person versus sharing so much themselves, right? Okay, so we have our first personality type, right? Our relator. So let me just share with the next one first. Our socializer. What do you think the socializer is like? Loud. Immediately loud, right? Our relator is the softer personality type. Socializer is the loud one, right? There's a bit of laughter. Why? Who's the socializer that comes to your mind? Rohan, our favorite person, right? Rohan. Why do you say he's the socializer?
He likes to start conversation in a lively and vibrant mode.
Lively and vibrant. So even the way he talks,
yeah, the way he talks. Attracts attention.
Attracts attention.
And he tries to connect. He tries to connect with you. Very
Right.
well. Yeah.
Okay. So for socializers, usually they are also very interested in people, but their approach is completely different from the relator. Right? Socializer, like you said, they will go out of their way to come and talk to you. Right? However, they are usually very excited. Their energy level is all the way up here, right? They're louder in general, right? So let's say, for example, right? Can I get a volunteer? Sorry, don't want to make eye contact with me. Shad? Okay, great. Okay, Shad. I want you to go out of open this door, go out, and then come in as a socializer would come in. Okay, so with what we've talked about just now, right? How do you think the socializer would walk into a room? Okay, so Shad is leaving now. Okay, let's see how she enters the room.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Good
Morning.
Do you think that's how Rohan will enter the room?
No, he talks more, so I don't
Okay, try again, go out, okay.
I don't have that much vocab.
Try again. Be the socializer that you know. Okay, let's try, go.
Hi everyone, I see that you're having a nice meeting today. So, how are you, all of you? How are you, Jenny? How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Please don't.
Okay, she's a please don't make it. Okay, have a seat. Okay, so socializer, right? They love attention. Right? Love attention. So when they come in, you see just now when she actually came in, she started addressing people already. Right? So socializers, when they come in, they're really the life of the party. Right? So when they come in, they literally come like, oh my god, hi, how are you guys today? And then they say, oh, do you have breakfast this morning?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Oh, how come? Hey, wait, okay, I'll talk to you later, okay, and then I'll be here already. Oh, John! John, I haven't seen you in a while. Okay. Why, so how have you been?
Good. Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. I'll catch up with you during lunch, then they move on to the next person. Right? So you've heard of the term social butterfly,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what really a socializer is. They will fly from one to the other, to the other, to the other, right? Because they love attention. As long as there's attention and there's the same kind of energy there, they are drawn to it. They want to be a part of it already, right? So example, now we know too, right? The relator and the socializer. Imagine when you enter a party, right? A party. Where do you think you will find the socializer?
In the middle of
In the
the party.
Middle of the party, right? Where the crowd is, he will be right in the middle. If there's a stage, he will be on the stage. Right? So as much as possible, it's like, hi everyone, I'm here. Right? So that is our socializer. Then where do you think you'll find your relator?
The sign.
Right at the back.
The side at the back. Right? So they don't want to be in the center. Go ahead, socializer, take the limelight, right? They prefer to be at the side. And do you think they will be alone?
No,
really.
no, they will be in
No,
the
right?
circle.
Maybe somebody close to them, one or two people.
Yeah.
Right? So usually it's because they are still interested in people, right? Just that they like smaller groups. So they will be probably with their friends, like closer people that they already know. So they'll be probably start with that same group of people the entire night. Because that's why they're comfortable already, right? But the socializer will work the room from the stage down to the back, down to the side. Everybody in the room, they'll try and meet. They'll try and get to know you a bit better, right? So that's usually the traits of a relator and a socializer. Any questions you guys have so far?
So usually the socializer will actually ignite the event in terms of the way they make it lively.
Right, because they really bring energy,
Bring energy,
right? So they're really very high energy, usually socializer, right? Relator is a bit calmer, more calm, peaceful. I want to get to know about you. Don't ask me so many questions about myself. I want to get to know more about you first, right? So it's very you-facing versus socializer is like a me, I'm here kind of. But this is obviously the extremes lah, right, of the personality types. Okay,
Just
so
now you said,
yes, no, go
just now
question.
you said socializer, they come to people. So which means they initiate interactions, right?
Yes.
So I'm curious, does relator initiate as well, or people come to them?
Okay, so for relator, because they are also very interested in people, so they will approach people, right? Just that they will not approach, let's say, a big group of people, right? So let's say, example, right now, everybody's in their groups, right? And let's say for me, because I'm preparing, I was nervous, let's say I'm standing at the back, right? Alone, I'm standing at the back, I'm just looking around, I'm like fidgeting a little bit. So a relator, if they come into the room, they may not necessarily come straight to a big table and start engaging with people. They probably see like, okay, there's one person at the back. Why is that person okay? They will go towards that smaller group or the individual, and then they'll ask you, are you okay or not? Like, you all good? Do you need help from me? Okay, you're fine. Make sure. Okay, I'm here if you need me. Okay, don't worry, and then they'll go. Right? But if it was a socializer, they'll come in straight away. Hi, is everyone okay? Right, what about you? You sure? Okay, makan already or not? So they will come in already from the get-go with very high energy. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what happens if you put a relator and a socializer together? How do you communicate?
The golden question. How do you think they'll communicate?
One will be talking, another one will
What another one? I think the relator will be listening more than the
Yeah.
socializer.
Right, so the socializer will be the one that is telling you a lot of things, right? And then the relator will just be there like, oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
They even get together. That makes sense.
Yeah, because let's say certain friend groups as well, right? You will always see there are different personalities in that friend group, right? So it's not that they cannot get along, but maybe the way that they will find that connection with each other will be a different approach versus, let's say, a relator will engage with a relator, right? So don't worry, we'll go into that later as well. Okay.
One more.
Yes. Okay, Wendy, let's go.
Can a person half like he also related and also a socializer at the same time?
Okay, so you're saying can we have more than one personality?
Yeah,
That's what you're asking. Okay, so yes. As we go along, you'll say, okay, but I have a bit of that. I also have a little bit of that, right? So that doesn't mean that you can only have one type of personality. It's just that in general, we would usually have one more dominant type of personality, right? But that doesn't mean we don't have other traits. Yeah, just what you gravitate and what you're most comfortable with. Okay, any more questions?
So the socializer is the extroverted version?
Yes,
And,
usually they are the more extroverted
Extroverted.
people, yeah. Okay, alright, so we go to the next one, right? Our analyzer. What do you think our analyzer likes?
Analyze people.
Information, details.
IT guy.
IT guy. The IT guy. So why you say IT guy?
Mostly IT guy very into words. They don't talk a lot. Like fact or that this is I don't talk this I show you what I've done and then this is okay bye.
Okay, so they're more interested in, let's say, facts, figures, details, right? So example, example, imagine if this was a piece of paper that had a lot of information, a lot of like charts and graphs and then a lot of statistics, right? Things like that. So imagine, right, if this is the table I go to and let's say Sean is an analyzer, right? When I show the paper to Sean, what do you think his reaction would be?
Happy.
Happy, right? You're giving me what I love the most, right? So when he sees it, he'll be like, wow, ooh, he'll start asking me questions. He is actually interested in what I'm talking about. He wants to get to know more, right? Oh, actually, really, how did you break this up? How did you come up with this graph, right? Because analyzers, they love details, right? They really love details. They want to know down to the facts of what is happening, right? But let's say if I have that same paper and I'm bringing that piece of paper with all the charts and everything, right? I bring it to a socializer. What do you think the socializer will react?
Oh no.
Oh no. Right? They're not interested, they look at it, oh my goodness. Oh, very nice this font. What font is this? Right? They don't even want to actually know what the words mean. They'll ask me, oh, maybe you just give me a summary, like you tell me what it's about, right? Versus actually wanting to go and dig deeper into the details. But the analyzer, they will actually ask you, how did you get this chart? Oh, really? Do you have the Excel sheet to back it up? Can I look into your Excel sheet? Where do you plug these figures from? Is it a reliable source or not? Your statistics, right? So analyzers are a lot more interested in the details, right? So let's say if I have a meeting with the analyzer, what do I have to do to make this meeting effective with this analyzer?
To give a lot of details, the data.
Cite your sources.
Cite your sources.
Cite your sources.
Back to my uni days. Cite your sources, right? So what can you do to make sure you have all of that?
Prepare.
Prepare.
Yeah,
Right? So always be prepared when you want to come and talk to the analyzer. If you go and approach the analyzer, right, you have all these charts and everything, and then they start asking you questions, you cannot answer. How do you think the analyzer will feel?
You are not relying on
Wasted my time, right? Because they're like, okay lah, you go back and maybe you go back and prepare first, then we can talk about it when you're more ready, right? So it's not that they are unfriendly. It can come off that way maybe to some people, but it's just that their objective is very different, right? For the socializer, What is their objective when they talk to you?
You make you feel happy.
We feel happy, feel good, bring excitement into to what we're talking about right now, right? So that will be usually our analyzer. Okay, so the last one, our director. The director. What do you think the director is like?
Yeah.
This one got name come out already. Okay. Okay, why do you say that?
Me.
Yeah lah, you gave the answer, right? Why do you think? What makes you think a director is a certain? Maybe you want to
They
describe.
want things to be done in certain way.
They want things to be done a certain way. Okay.
Like have to be in order.
Have to be in order. Okay. So what happens if it's not?
They will become grumpy.
Okay, grumpy is a feeling lah, right? Okay. So why do you think, let's say, just now Mandy described, right? Directors like things done a certain way, right? They have the end outcome already in their mind usually, right? They know what is the objective of this, what is the goal that they want to reach, right? So if you don't have that, why do they feel grumpy? Not in control, right? So directors, yes, they actually usually prefer to be in control, right? They are very results driven, right? So that's why our directors are usually a lot more fast paced, right? They want things right now, right? I asked for you on Friday, I expect it to be done on Friday, and I expect it to be done to the result that I expect and have communicated to you already. Right? So usually, how can the directors come off a little bit? Direct, yeah. Sometimes some people have said before, a bit scary lah to the director. I want to talk to the director. I see it better. Right? It's because usually directors are a bit misunderstood, right? People feel like, oh no, they're so scary, you know, they're so strict with me. It's just that, like what, they feel like they're a bit more direct. Because they are only having the end goal in mind. That's what they want. That's the most important to them, right? So, director as well, if you start talking about a lot of, let's say a lot of other things apart from the end goal, they're not interested, right? So if you go into a meeting as well with the director, you start talking about, hey, you know, last month I went to this place for holiday, you know, wow, it was so great. They'll be like, yes, yes, okay. Why do you need me here for this conversation? Right? So again, very results driven, right? So now that we've gotten to know a little bit better about these 4 personalities, right? Yeah, I ask you guys, do you have a rough idea what your dominant personality type is? Shut no. Well, you feel like you're a bit of all of this, is it? Somehow, a little bit of a mix. Okay, so we'll go into it a little bit more. What about, I talk so much, right? I share so much about myself, right? What do you think my dominant personality type is?
Director.
Director. Oh. Okay, director. Mandy thinks I'm a director. Who here thinks I'm a director by dominant personality type? Only Mandy lah, yo. Okay, then what about the rest? What do you think my dominant personality type is?
Socializer.
Analyzer.
Everything. I'm everything and more. Okay, so just now, no lah, don't judge based on how you know me outside of this room lah. Then cheating a bit, right? That's before training already. Okay, what kind of personality type you think I am dominant based on like right now in training? Socializer, right? Socializer. So, is it because I'm very loud? Because I'm very loud, then I'm bringing a lot of energy, right, to the training. Yeah, but actually I would say my dominant personality type is actually more towards analyzer and the relator. Usually when I'm at work, I usually like to be in my own space, look at my laptop and, you know, one person approach me at a time, please. Right? And then, you know, we can discuss about the work, and I'm fine with that, right? But imagine if I came to this training today and I was an analyzer. Very comfortable, right? I'm the analyzer that I usually am. How do you think this training will be like?
Your slides will be full with graph and figures and
Yeah, it will just be all the charts and the words and the figures. How will you feel?
Overwhelmed.
The deep breath, right? Oh my god, how long is this training for? I don't keep checking the time, you know, is it time to go already or not? Right, exactly. I see people start yawning already at 10 a.m. Right, so really, I think just now somebody asked, right, what happens, you know, do I only have one type of personality? Not necessarily. Sometimes it's different situations we might be, you know, prone to using a different personality more, right? So today, obviously, I will have to be a bit louder, right? I'll have to engage with everyone a bit more, right? Because my objective of this training, obviously, you know, is to be able to engage all of you here and then engage with the content as well, right? So that requires a lot more of a socializer. Yeah. So sometimes, so just now Shad was saying, I'm not even sure which one I am, right? So is there a way that can actually help us pinpoint what personality type a certain person is a lot quicker, right? So for example, like in sales, sometimes when you meet a person, you have to start profiling already, right? Oh, how do I best engage this particular client, right? Or even let's say the rest of us, if we're in projects or we're dealing even sometimes like for finance, admin, you deal a lot with internal stakeholders, right? How can I very quickly pinpoint what type of personality is this person? Right, so there's two questions that can help you get there, right? The first one is whether this person is people focused or task focused, right? People focused or task focused. So just by looking here, right, our relator and socializer are usually more people focused, right? So their topic in mind, when they engage with people, they're trying to get to know you a lot better, right? So that's why they're asking questions about that person, the other person, right? So for relator, you're always trying to find out how that person is feeling about this, right? And then socializer, they're interacting a lot, they're bringing a lot of energy because they're trying to get you to get excited as they are, right? So that is usually more people focused, right? So for task focus, our analyzer director, right? So analyzer is about the work. They want to talk about the work itself. Director, what do they like best? Sorry? Results, right? So their end goal, they're always thinking about end goal. What am I trying to get out of this? I want to achieve the results as soon as possible, right? So because of that, they're usually a lot more task focused, right? So that's the first question you can ask yourself when you're meeting someone. Is this person people focused or task focused? Yeah? So, okay, so apart from that, the second question you can ask, right, is this person an introvert or an extrovert? Right? So as you can see from here, usually the analyzer and relator, they prefer smaller groups. Right? So they're usually a bit more introverted. Right? They like to talk one-on-one, they like to have small discussions. Yeah? And usually the relator, because I say introverted and people focused, right? They don't like conflict. They don't engage very well with conflict, right? When there is conflict, they immediately start feeling a bit uncomfortable, like, oh no, you know, when there's conflict, people are arguing, there's so much attention here, you know, on this situation, they'll take a step back. Yeah, usually that is the case lah. Okay? And then for our director and socializer, they're louder, they're more direct, they're not afraid of confrontation. So they're usually more extroverts lah, in general. Right? So far, the two questions you can ask yourself to immediately try and profile, okay, what I think this dominant personality type is. People focused or task focused. Then whether they're an introvert or an extrovert, right? Okay, so let me just break it down a little bit more. Let's say I have a situation now. I want to get my friends to go on a trip with me to climb Mount Kinabalu, right? I'm very excited about it, but I'm trying to think, how can I engage all these people to go with me? This is a group of 4 people, all 4 different personalities, you know. How can I ask them, right? So anybody here want to try and practice first? How do I engage the socializer to go on this trip with me?
Tell all the fun activities that you're going to do there, going to meet people,
Oh.
know the world,
Blah, blah, like the fun, right? To really emphasize all the fun, right? Hey, you know or not, when we go up there, right, the view is amazing, you know, you can take all the pictures you want, you post on your Instagram, you get the likes, you know. Because what do they like?
Attention.
Right? So, okay lah, it's like you dangle the fish in front of them and they're like, oh, okay, I'm excited, right, let's go. Right, oh yeah, I can take, oh, how many likes can I get from this? They're planning their entire social media content, all the angles they want to take their pictures in already. Right, so that's how you get them excited. Right? What about the analyzer? How to get analyzer to say yes to going on this Mount Kinabalu trip with you?
Budget.
Okay, because they'll ask you questions, right? Okay, so budget.
details of the hiking.
How long it takes? How many days
How many days?
for the trips?
Itinerary.
If you can plan out the itinerary, you print out for them, even better, right? Because they'll ask you questions. Oh, is it? When do I have to go? When's the day I have to fly? Morning or night? Right? How long do we have to be there? I see. Okay. So what is the budget for this? Does this include everything already or not? Do I have to prep my own food or not? They'll start asking you all sorts of questions, right? So again, just now when we said when we go into any interactions with analyzer, what should we always think of?
Information.
Details.
Details, right? Prepare. You really got to prepare, right? You cannot just go in, jom lah pergi Mount Kinabalu. Then they ask, oh, when When you free? And they're like, this person not serious lah. They don't actually want me to go lah. They just throw this word out there, Mount Kinabalu only, right? So if I'm the analyzer, I'll be like, maybe I'll go myself another time, but when I'm more ready, I'm more prepared, right? Okay, so that's the analyzer. What about our relator? What kind of questions you think the relator will ask?
Who's going?
Who's going, right? Because why would they ask who's going?
They need someone to be with, someone they know to be with.
Right? Because just now, again, what's the question you will ask them? When you're trying to profile someone, what's the question you will ask?
People focus or
People focus or task focus, right? And relators are always usually people focused. So they will already ask you, who's going? Then they're trying to see, oh my god, is there anyone I know? got kaki or not, right? Got friends or not? This one, right? Okay. Got friends already. Okay. Do you really want to go? They'll ask you, do you really want to go? Are you excited? Oh, okay. You really want me to go? Okay lah. I try and plan my things around this. Again, they're trying to think about the people who are involved, right? They're always thinking about people, right? What about director? This one. How do you crack this situation? How to get the director to go on this Mount Kinabalu trip with you?
What's the benefit of?
Oh. Okay, maybe you hear from this side first.
Tell them the reason we are going and all, like the purpose for the trip and everything.
Yeah, okay, so really tell them the purpose of the trip because what do they like best?
results.
Yeah.
Results. So you're telling them about the end goal already, right? The results.
Yeah.
Hey, you know or not? It's been proven before, Mount Kinabalu, right? If you reach the peak, right, you are actually proven to help you, that will actually improve your health. For example, so I don't know real or not. For example, it is real lah. Like, you know, it will really help you improve your health, you know. And because you know this person's results oriented, right? has been trying to improve in their health, right? So because of that, the director will actually feel like, oh, okay, there is value out of this, right? There's benefits of me going already. I want to get healthier, and then this is one way to do it. Right? So again, they're thinking about the end goal. Okay, can lah, right? I'm more inclined to go, right? So what happens, right? That is if you talk to them individually. What happens if I want to talk to all of them together? Oh, then how? If I need to chair a meeting, right? I want to chair a meeting. Normally, let's say internal meeting, we have a lot of different personality types in the group, right? How do I make sure I can connect with them better?
Address everyone needs, like just
Sorry?
while talking, addressing everyone needs or like the things that grabbing their attention while you're talking. The same conversation.
So you're saying I try and be a little bit of everyone. That's what you mean.
Yes.
Right? But what if let's say I'm a social, then I'll talk very loud, I get everyone very excited, right? Then these people are not interested. Oh my god, okay, till now already. Right, then how? What can I do? Let's try. I'm sure you guys have been in some situations, right? That there are very different personalities in the room.
I think we need to choose one dominant type that can engage all. Maybe I feel the director is more outcome focused, so they'll get everybody's attention.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, maybe this one can be a stronger personality to draw all of them in. Is that it?
Perhaps,
Right? Okay, so on the right track already, right? So just to give you guys a hint lah, right? So sometimes when we are, let's say, having an internal meeting, there is 20 people in the meeting. I don't know, all the different personalities. How do I handle it? Right? Come back again to why do you have this meeting? Why are you even having this meeting? What's the objective here? Right? So if let's say my objective is to be able to have everyone have that buy-in on making a decision to move forward. Let's say a company direction or project direction, right? So then which one will I use? The objective of this meeting, to make sure I make this decision.
Director.
Director. Because die for this meeting to end, I must get this decision. Right, so that's very results oriented. So then I will have to try and use the director personality lah, to make sure I am able to achieve that. Right? But let's say I'm having this meeting, right? Example, right? We are having a team building for our entire company, right? We're having a team building. Right? What is the objective of the team building usually?
To get people to work together.
Have fun, get people work together, engage, right? Which one should I use? Socializer, right? Because you want everyone to like have the energy up, right? Everyone to be able to get excited about what we're doing, right? And then the goal is have fun, right? So this one always want to have fun, right? So socializer would be the best personality to be using in terms of how you communicate with other people, right? So again, every time when you're thinking, okay, I have to, you know, try and bring all of these different personalities together, right? Which one should I use? Come back to why, your objective. Right? Why am I doing this? Why am I having this meeting? Why am I right now here talking so much, so loudly? Okay, because I need to be a socializer, right? I need to engage everyone, right? So maybe I just give you guys 2 or 3 minutes, right, to have a think about what is your dominant personality, and then write it down. You guys all have a piece of paper, right, and pen in front of you. Maybe just write down what you feel is your dominant personality. Yeah, just give you 2-3 minutes.
Why are you looking? I have no idea.
haven't seen your extrovert side yet.
Yeah, same.
I haven't seen. I think you have it, it's just that it didn't show up yet. You always have
back
it.
then got a bit of diagnosis like, what do you think I am? What do you think I am?
Because lunch check, he always
Yeah,
will
this
come
one quite
first
clear.
beginning.
Okay.
He won't come and like, hey guys, what do I have lunch? He never come and ask. What do you think?
I think you're an analyzer.
Okay.
You sit in the back.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And very detailed.
Yeah, somehow. Me?
I never worked with you before, but I feel you socialize it. just from interaction in office.
But I have a moment of awareness also. Like,
Diagnosis very fast, you see that one feel like,
imagine these people
who am I?
I'm very introvert.
Yeah,
But let's say if everyone here I don't know and I sit here, first time I see him, if this person don't, if I say hi, and he just like hi, then no more conversations, I'm very quiet. Because I know when like you open up, right? So I'll become social. Makes sense. Yeah. What was it, Catherine?
I'm actually intro, not the extro side.
Really? Got like, I think you got extra
I
side.
got extro.
Generally it's intro.
I'm more to the analyzer related.
yeah, I had a
Okay, ready?
yes.
Wait.
Shan is still having a bit of a crisis. Can I give you one more minute? Maybe just think. Based on what you know now, what do you feel most comfortable or you find yourself using that personality type the most?
This part, but I mostly do it later.
What is your default,
It's like-
default setting?
It's like I walk in the room, you won't be the first one talking to me. Like maybe Xiaoji will get me first.
This side will be
Yeah, but I have talked to you, then you will talk to me. Well, but I'm not sure lah. It's analyzer later, a bit hard to tell. Analyzer for you. So I don't think you ask. Is that much? Yeah.
Unless it's crafts. I'm just
Okay, all good? Okay? Okay, can reflect more. I think they're good. I want to think why you don't know yourself so well. Okay, alright. So, can I see a show of hands, the relators in the room?
Wow.
Relators, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Somehow.
Relators. Okay, hands up. That's I think like at least half the room already. Okay, what about socializers? Are there any socializers here? Oh, Sean. Mandy. Why like kena force like that? Why like kena force? Oh, this one, okay. Analyzers? Oh.
Hey, can be both, is it?
Can lah.
What's your dominant?
Dominant.
Dominant? Dominant, can I see? Again, show of hands, dominant analyzers. Directors? Any directors in the room?
Yeah.
Okay, we have one. Alright. One only, really. Hey, Shad, you cannot do this, man. She's still having her crisis at the back. She just changed hands.
No, because I am result oriented, but at the same time I like to look at the details. So I don't like it when it's not going on my plan. So that's
So
part
you're
of it.
more to director.
So you're down here.
Yeah, I like
so,
to do it.
okay, this one need to interview. Later, everyone please go help her figure out what she is, right?
Please, please.
Okay.
But are you extrovert or introvert? Or you both?
It depends.
Yeah, it's so hard, because it's like working area, you know that you have to social so you force, like you automatic switch. Like sales people, like I'm very introvert, but when I see people I want to sales, I switch to like, hey hi, but when they go, it's like, okay, my rest time. Okay, I get
My
it.
rest time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to talk. Yeah.
So maybe to help you guys a little bit better, right? So some of us, we know straight away already, right? Are we introvert or extrovert? I'm introvert. Right, so how can you tell whether you're introvert or extrovert? Right? So like just now you said, it's because I meet a certain type of person. I have to switch that switch on, right? So what I mean by your dominant personality type is what are you most comfortable with? What's your default setting? Means if you can choose, what would you like to, how would you like to interact? What's your normal personality type, right? So introvert, extrovert. Give you an example. Because I am actually an introvert. It might seem difficult to believe, but it is the truth, right? So one sign that you're actually an introvert is for certain settings, I say at work, I have to be an extrovert, right? I'm interacting so much with different people. But by the end of the work day, right, I go so tired. Like social battery gone already. Please, I go home, even my mom talks to me, I'm like, okay, not now, I need my alone time. I need nobody to speak to me for the rest of the day.
Can relate to that.
Right? So if you are like that, more likely you're actually an introvert. Right? Extroverts need that interaction, they need that energy, right? They enjoy actually constantly engaging with people. Right? Like for example, just now everyone here everyone knows Rohan, right?
Yes.
So just now we said socializer, I heard about Rohan. Right? Okay, right, so if let's say Rohan is the ultimate socializer we have in mind, you imagine, right, if we suddenly say in the company, every day, for at least 2 hours we need to have quiet time in the office. Right? Nobody go kacau anybody. Who do you think will struggle most? Right, the socializer, Xiaoyi, right? So you see they're dropping names of the socializer. Socializer cannot run away one. They cannot run away. You don't identify yourself, people will identify you already. You're the one always going around, hey, how are you guys doing? And I'll start cracking jokes. They love jokes, right? Because that brings energy to people. Right? So that's how you can, when you're thinking, am I really an introvert, extrovert? Think about your energy levels. How comfortable are you with giving a lot of energy? Right? Do you feel drained at the end of the day if you give too much energy? See, the fact that I have to use the word too much, you know already. Then I got limit, right? If I got limit, I'm more likely introvert, right? So even, I think a lot of people say, oh, but during MCO, right, I was forced to be at home. I'm forced to have that limit of energy, right? So from extrovert, slowly I become an introvert already, right? Some people actually say that, right? But let me tell you, for the extroverts, right, I remember when the MCO lifted at the start, right, and then we all had to start slowly coming back into office. It was very clear division, you know, between the introverts and the extroverts. The introverts were all like, oh boy, I have to interact face to face with people, you know. Then they're like, even in the office, people you already know, so like, very tired lah. Then they say, okay lah, maybe we can still do hybrid lah. Half the time we're in the office, half the time we're at home. Oh, the introverts like, yes, yes, I got my alone time, right? So usually you see, extroverts, I remember one of the reasons we started going back to office because we had an extrovert on our team that kept asking, guys, when are we meeting up? We haven't met each other in so long. Can we go makan together as a team? What are we doing? Are you guys free after work today? I haven't seen you guys in so long. Let's go bowling lah. So then you can tell already who's the introvert, extrovert. And so whether it's you're reflecting on yourself or even when you're interacting with people, the words they will use, like what is the focus of their conversation, right? Really trying to get you to do things, interact with me more, please. It's the more people focused ones, right, usually. So people focus, task focus, I think this one is a bit more direct lah. Right? So any questions anyone still has on that?
That means in our life, daily life, we actually switch between maybe two types of personality of
Yeah, so really, yeah, definitely. So we all will have traits of all these different personalities, right? It's just when do we use it? And then again, why we need to use certain type of personalities in different type of situations. Yeah. Otherwise, right now I'll be here showing you numbers. Right, so we don't want that. We don't want that, right? Okay. All right. So before we go into a break, right? When we are going to come back, I'm going to give you a little bit of time. We can have a discussion among your group. Right? I'm going to give you a situation. Right? After this, we will distribute hats to you. Right? We'll distribute some hats to you. These hats will they will show you actually representation of different personality types. Right? So there'll be different colors. Yellow will be relator. Right? After this, after the break, we'll give you the hats. Yellow hats will be the relator. Red hats will be socializer. Blue hats analyzer, and the silver hats later on will be the director. Right? So don't worry, I'll show you guys again later as well. So after this, I need you guys to, for those of you who don't know what is your dominant personality type, please figure out, have a reflection, think about your life a little bit more, right, during the break, right? So think about what is your dominant personality type, right? So then pick the hat that you will be wearing, okay, for this scenario lah. Right? So the scenario we are going to be discussing. So I hope this morning everybody wake up, right? You wake up in the morning. What's the first thing you usually go do?
Check the time.
Check my phone.
Check the time.
Off the alarm.
So that's good job, guys. Good job. Okay. So brush teeth. Okay, I'm glad that at least one person said brush your teeth. I hope everyone here brush your teeth in the morning, right? So how do you guys here when you brush your teeth, right? How do you guys squeeze your toothpaste onto your toothbrush? Who here squeezes from the middle? You flex. I'm not sure what I do, you know, the first thing in the whole thing. So, okay, some of us squeeze in the middle. Who here squeeze from the end? Oh, majority. Then the rest? The rest are the ones that wake up and don't know what should they squeeze it. Don't brush teeth, I see, that's the real answer. No wonder.
No,
These are the
here
front,
or here.
Front. See, some of you squeeze from the front. Oh, so first time I hear from the front. Right, so you see, even to squeeze the toothpaste, right, to brush your teeth, there's so many different people, different methods already, right? Let alone communication, right? So the topic we're actually going to discuss later on is how to squeeze your toothpaste, right? So after this, I'm going to tell you guys, right? So for our relator and socializer, you'll be squeezing from the middle, right? And your analyzer and director will be squeezing from the end. Right? So that is your belief, right? So how are you going to convince your other personality types on your table, right? That is the correct way, that is the best way to squeeze the toothpaste out. Right? Okay, so have a little think about this, right? So I think there's 5, right, on each table, 5 to 6 people on each table. So at least have one person of each personality type. Right? So there will be more, but at least one of each personality. Okay, can we do that?
Somehow, yes.
Right? Okay, maybe I give you guys 10 minutes. 10 minutes to just have that conversation among your own tables right now, thinking what is my personality type, and then have this conversation. So try and already practice this. Okay? I give you guys 10 minutes.
Sorry, you are analyzer.
Yeah.
One of
And you?
only one director. And we role play as the personality.
Yes, so let's say, okay, good question, right, everyone? So for example,
From the end also.
so for example, right, my table, there's 5 people. There is 3 analyzers. There's 3 analyzers, right? What am I supposed to do? Right? So as much as possible, try and think, okay, that is my dominant, right? Then what is the second one I use most? Whether it is by choice or because I have to, right? But what is then the second one I use most? Okay, so the whole point is to be able to interact with different types of personalities. So at least have one from each. Okay, so identify that first before you go into your conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, any questions, just raise up.
You want to switch?
Alright, give you 10 minutes to discuss in your own group.
Yeah, I know. But because we have so many, it's under the yellow and red. So we need a few. Only one is not enough, at least two.
I can be director as well. So
Yeah. Can you be that?
No, she can be analyzer. She can be analyzer.
yeah.
Oh, you analyzer also.
But I press the no, I don't know.
No, now it has to switch your mind that now you are.
So
If you the analyzer is from the end lah.
So your turn.
How?
If you analyzer is the end lah.
I'm related.
So what's your another one after the first
After
dominant
the
second one?
later is analyzer.
Ah, then that one lah, analyzer.
Weird.
I don't use it from the end. I use it as so
Yeah, if your analyzer is the end lah.
so yeah.
Now it's like, no matter what is it, you just need to pursue people. Say from middle is the best. Right. Yeah. It look balanced.
Okay, so
So now it's what?
are we going to convince?
Are we convinced now?
I think we might need to go further. Yeah, later. I'm just thinking how to convince. Listen,
As a director, I have to convince you why we're gonna use it for me. Easy. Okay, actually, I think of it. When you first run it, when you squeeze it from the that make sure you're not melting so many toothpaste.
you go on less wastage. Analyzer can go more time saving.
No. Push the middle, you know what? It's more evenly, on the toothbrush. In the middle, then you
So
can.
that's considered wasting to your
No, it won't.
toothpaste. You don't have to put too much toothpaste in your, because it's going to damage your, like the first.
No, because if you put the middle, by the time you put in your mouth, you go closer to the right. So it will distribute evenly on the
No, this is squeeze your toothpaste, right? You're squeezing your toothpaste from the middle or from the end. The tube.
No, so this is your toothpaste. So, it's not on the toothpaste or it's on tube.
No, it's not the toothbrush. Not on the toothbrush.
Toothpaste. How do you squeeze the toothbrush?
Oh, that's inventing
Yeah, how to squeeze the toothpaste onto the toothbrush.
I say middle because most of the time you squeeze from the end because how big it is, right?
You squeeze from the end, and now you squeeze more than what you want. Squeeze from middle, it's just nice.
Because if I constantly rock the end,
The one as a socializer, you can say that. Yeah. As a socializer, you can say that. As a relator, I say it's mostly you don't need to keep pushing from the end because in the end everything goes up. Then just one big push instead of.
It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm trying
Yeah, I know you're already going to the end goal.
when you hold it from the bottom, it just flops.
What is your argument? You are an analyzer.
My goal is just to brush the teeth.
How I get that doesn't
You just go press in the middle and then you just go on with your day, right? You don't need to
I
press
only use one
whether
I use
whether
either one.
what I press is the correct one,
Because
right? You don't type
only
for
left
that.
the
You
middle.
press it in the middle,
Because you script
down
from
only,
bottom, right?
that's it. You wasting, okay, it's not my cost that much. Yeah, right, yeah.
Oh, so when you grab it.
So it doesn't matter where I press from. It's all
No, if you press it from the top,
But nowadays, the thing is nowadays we have what? We have tools. You don't need to script by your hand.
10 years now,
You can just put and then they will.
Are you using that?
So this is not arguable anymore nowadays.
Socializer. Yeah, this has too many tools. So not everyone
in
uses
the end you
them.
can promote them.
Yeah.
Leave this all aside. Now there's a two AA battery will do it. Put your mind on that.
Oh, toothpaste.
And you never know it's on the end or on the middle.
I just use it at one time. I
And
just
let's
use it
say
at one
this
time.
tank is 2 years and in 10 years it
Sounds good to me.
So this is going to be a new tube of toothpaste.
But the work is only
And you
once.
can talk about how toothpaste are used.
I'm freezing.
No, okay, so this is a tube of toothpaste, right? So this is a tube of
I
toothpaste.
work, my hand's already
I will keep
frozen,
pressing
but
on the
now
middle,
it's
and then
starting
it
to
keeps pushing
my
up. When it's not come out enough, then I will push it up.
No way, no way.
This amount.
There's 3 more.
Yeah, continue.
Oh my
Rather
god.
than every day I push up a
No,
bit,
what to do
push up a
with
bit.
We need the toothpaste.
Can we have a toothpaste for demo?
This one I need the physical exertion.
Analyzer only, bro, you can imagine. To prove his point. Yeah.
How would you
Let me mention from the perspective of the roller thing. Like, imagine if you are using a roller, right? Every day you could roll it a bit, roll it a bit, roll it a bit, roll it a bit. But it goes to the end. But if you don't push, so if you have a roller, how would you use it? You have to roll from the bottom to get the thing out, right? Otherwise, you need to push the middle. So you will every day roll the bottom.
No, sorry, hang a sweet. Sorry.
It's not running.
Okay.
So it's ready?
Correct.
Alright, you can start asking him questions.
Oh,
Yeah, you can send him. Yeah. It's always around.
But tour guide won't start with anything.
It's only Malaysia. No, you guys start by asking him questions.
Yeah, it's only Malaysia, right?
Yes, only Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yes, Akil, go.
Alright.
Does this is it in a state that starts with the letter K? Why not you just say
See the status.
Yes or no?
Yes.
it's only yes or no?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes.
Which K?
You answer yes or no? Can we answer yes or no, right?
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
I just pass it.
She's just like never
I'm
mind.
just putting a link. Okay, fine. Is it by the beach?
No.
Is it Kuala Lumpur? Is it in Kuala Lumpur?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Is it a tourist place?
Is it Twin Tower?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, next one. Ready? Okay, go.
I don't answer.
Okay, try. No.
Is it in the northern states?
No.
Is it the southern states?
Yes.
Is it close to
Not
Johor?
north and south, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, yes.
Is it in Malacca?
So you say what? Wait.
Yo.
Okay. Is it in America?
Malacca.
Is it close to Johor?
No.
Is it Negeri Sembilan?
No.
Wait, it's West Malaysia, right?
Is it?
Yes. Yes.
Is it Selangor?
Yes.
Is it Selangor?
What is this
Selangor
Selangor?
what?
Is it a tourist place?
Yes.
Is
Is it near Gombak?
Batu K.
You know what?
Is it near Gombak? Oh yeah.
Sorry. Wait.
Yeah,
It's
is
not
it Batu
vertical
K?
if I already asked.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
No.
Is it a wall?
Is it a wall?
Mall.
No, it isn't. No, it's not.
Is it
Is it near the beach?
No.
Is it a street?
No.
Is it Port Klang Nong?
No.
Yes. Just now, so we have what? Just now we have Selangor, right? So
Yes.
far.
See the building?
Is it Sunway Pyramid?
Sorry?
Is it Sunway Pyramid?
He said not more.
Close.
Close.
Oh.
Sambil
Sambil lagoon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Sambil lagoon. Okay. Just now when you said mall, Dave was touching already. It's not mall. Right, okay, can we get another tour guide?
You want to go? Okay, go.
Okay, come. Okay. Alright, go. Ask him the question.
Is it in Selangor?
Is it in Kuala Lumpur?
No.
Is it a tourist place?
Yes.
Is it an island?
No.
Is it in Penang?
No. Northern states? No.
Is it in Borneo?
No.
Is it Malacca?
No. West Malaysia? Yes.
Huh? What?
Is it in Pahang?
In Ipoh? No, no.
Is it in?
No.
Is it in Kedah?
No.
Is it in Malacca region?
No. It's not.
Is it
Johor?
Southern region?
Yes.
Johor.
Correct. Yes.
Legoland?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Try another one, okay?
Oh.
Okay.
Is it in Sabah?
No.
Is it in Selangor? Sarawak.
No.
Is it in northern area? Northern region?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it Penang? Yes.
Oh.
But
Is it the food?
No.
Please.
You want to use every food there.
Is it a wood temple?
No.
Bukit Bendera only lah.
Is it?
Is it Bukit Bendera?
No.
Is it a bridge? Penang.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We try one last one, okay? Okay. One last one. Let's go.
Is it in West Malaysia?
No.
Is it in Borneo?
No.
East
Sarawak?
Malaysia?
Is it in East Malaysia?
Yes.
East
Sarawak? No.
Sabah. East
Yes.
Malaysia.
East Malaysia.
Kota Kinabalu.
Sabah.
Kota Kinabalu.
Yes.
Gunung Kinabalu.
Don't keep that one. Yeah. Alright. Okay, good job. I'm getting to know all of you a bit better. Some of the geography, like West Malaysia, look at me, I'm not the pro guy. I'm not supposed to give you the answer. Okay. Alright, so coming back, right, just now before the break, I gave you guys a scenario. So the different personalities that we have. So you guys will see the hats on your table now. Can you guys wear the hat of the color that is your dominant personality? You should have at least one of each, yeah?
Just in case.
Yeah, it dropped.
No, you're still.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't stay. Depends on the situation.
That was a double, is it?
My one doesn't stay. God, it dropped.
It was such a big sigh over there. Good enough. Close enough. Okay, everyone ready, yeah? Alright. So just now we have 3 different tables. I heard 3 very different conversations, right? So now, I want you guys to nominate one of each personality type to come up to the front and reenact your role in that toothpaste situation, right? So can I get a relator for a lot, right? Okay, Akil. Alright, thank you, Akil. Okay. So we have one relator up. Can we get a socializer? Sean, you've been nominated. No choice. Okay. Sean, one analyzer. Alright, thank you, Sarah. Okay, we have one analyzer and one director. Can you get a director? Up to the front. Okay, thank you. Alright. Okay, so now let's try. Just now we said the toothpaste scenario, right? So our relator and socializer is squeezing the toothpaste from the middle. Right, from the middle, and then analyzer director is from the end. right? So come to the center, right? So I want you guys to reenact this scenario, right? Really thinking about the traits just now when we're talking about, like example, socializers loud, right? High energy. So you really want to think about those traits and try to do it as extreme as possible. So for you, you'll be the ultimate socializer, right? So you'll be the ultimate director. So having that in mind, right, we're gonna try this scenario out, okay? Whenever you guys are ready.
Do it at the same time or the C?
Like have the conversation.
Have a conversation. So
Yeah, have the conversation to convince the rest.
okay. So just to start, who here starts from the middle? Who starts from the bottom?
You have
Can
the
I see
conversation
it?
with them.
Oh, with them?
With them.
With the other party?
Yes.
Okay, so you prefer squeezing from the bottom, right?
Yes.
Alright, so could you explain why you're squeezing from the bottom?
Okay, being someone who is an analyzer,
Okay.
I think that analyzers are people who are very detail oriented. So when you squeeze it from the bottom, it's like you want to get the most out of everything. So yeah, you're squeezing everything out, and you don't want to miss anything, and you don't want to waste.
Okay.
So that is why you are squeezing from the bottom, so that you get the most out of everything.
Okay, and for you?
Okay, for me, it depends on what my goal is. So my goal is to make sure that my teeth is really clean. And
I think you need to choose the brand then, not how much you use.
Systema.
It's all about getting the most affordable one,
Okay.
cheapest one, because I don't have that much money. I need to get money, so that's why I need people to see that I have clean teeth and they would listen to me. So starting from the bottom, I don't really care whether I really waste it or not. That's why I buy a cheap one. And yeah, so the outcome is to get a clean teeth. That's why I will start from the bottom.
So for you personally, you want to make sure that you get every last bit out of it. You want to make sure that it is something that you don't miss out, right? So let me ask you this, right? If you just simply squeeze from the middle, and if you were to slowly roll up from the bottom, which one saves more time?
Roll up from the bottom.
Saves more time, really. Rather than squeeze. One squeeze versus roll. Which one saves more time?
Squeeze and rolling. Say squeezing.
Right. So when you save that time on squeezing, you can use that time. If you save 1 minute every day, or 2 minutes, because you question, I don't know how many times you question. Let's say 2 minutes. 5 days, that's how many minutes?
Okay, wait, let me ask you something.
Okay.
You're a socializer.
Yes, I am.
So when it comes to socializing, you use your mouth a lot, right?
Yes.
So isn't oral hygiene important? So why would you want to squeeze in the middle and not get like a full, perfect amount of toothpaste?
That's actually a very interesting question. There are actually a lot of people who overuse toothpaste, so actually only supposed to use like a small amount. So, but that's a different topic entirely.
I think I would just want to add on. I think
Yes.
it's true. You shouldn't be using too much. That's why I think if you squeeze from the middle, you have a bit more control. Because it's more stable rather than at the end. If it's at the end, it might be a bit floppy. You might miss. You might use too much. So you press from the middle, comes out just the right amount. So you're saving your time. You're saving your energy. You're making sure that everything is nice and clean. It's not like.
Okay, so it's more comfortable to press in the middle, but
Yeah, because imagine you're holding, imagine you're trying to pick something up like this, right? You hold it like this,
okay.
which is right in the middle. So I think that's kind of how I see it too. You're holding it, it makes more sense. to
Okay,
press from the middle.
so when you press it from the middle and you do it every day, won't it get thinner at the
It will,
top?
but in the end, you just need one big push rather than small push, small push, small push, small push.
So it saves time every day, and it saves time consistently.
So you're saying that somehow, however, you still go back to the bottom in the end?
Yes.
But if you use it from the bottom, you see you're using from the bottom, in the end you still end up in the middle. So why not just start with this?
The main point here is that using it from the middle, number one, helps you save time. That time you can spend doing other things that you also enjoy. Right? You want to listen to audiobooks, you want to look at graphs, you want to read the news, all of these detail-oriented things that you like to enjoy and analyze, all available to you. You know, 10 minutes a week, might not sound much, but like that's 10 minutes of reading time. That's 10 minutes of looking at news, seeing current events. And for you particularly, I think what you're looking for mostly is the brand of the toothpaste and like how it can best achieve the results. So
say I was looking at the brand.
So you're looking at the results, right? Okay, so as I was saying earlier, there are actually a lot of people in Malaysia who use too much toothpaste. So toothpaste is actually a controlled substance in other countries, meaning that you cannot actually buy too much. Why? Because too much of it can actually wear down your teeth. Yes. So because that's your end result, right? Having good oral hygiene. Yeah.
That will also depend on the condition of the toothpaste.
Okay.
Whether is it fully loaded or whether it's almost empty.
Okay.
So if it's fully loaded, I will
argue
start
that
from the front end. And I can
So we already have one already. Start from the front end already. Start with okay.
Okay, thank you. This will go on forever. Right, okay. So let's go on forever. Okay, so our director first. What did our director do well as a director?
He stated his goal.
He picked up.
Sorry?
He picked up his team.
He what is it?
I thought this
Oh,
two
picked
other
up,
team.
okay, okay.
It's like
Alright.
he will give chance for her to, debate first. Then if look at the situation, it's not benefit for them, so he had to step in and just do something.
Alright, okay. So just now Kai, you were saying?
He said his goal of brushing teeth.
His goal, okay. So from the very beginning, he was already like, okay, I've heard everything, okay, good, great. But the goal, what is my goal when I'm squeezing? So he's talking about his result from the very beginning, right? So again, directors, I think one misconception is that, they're very scary, they always just go straight for it, right? They are direct, but actually what he did was he gave the floor to the other people. He let them talk first, right? But then also, okay, I've heard enough, so this is what I have to say now, right? So at the end of the day, right, I just want, the decision is, my way is the best way. Thank you. Okay, right? So usually, again, he tries and comes in and just wraps it up, right? I still think this is the best way after I've heard everybody. Okay, so this is the best way, which is my way. Okay, good. Right with the outcome I wanted, right? What else did he do that was great as a director?
He was very assured that his way is the best way.
Very confident,
Yeah,
right? So even when he was talking, his voice didn't shake on, he didn't stammer, just okay, right? So this is the outcome. Okay, I believe this is so. Okay. Demands authority, right? Yeah. So usually directors are very firm, right? Because they know what they want already, right? So directors are very firm, lah. Okay. So one thing also that actually he did very well is that directors, they are not afraid if there's a bit of conflict. They're not worried about, getting it wrong or not having the same on the same wavelength with you. What they really believe in, because it is tied so strongly with their end outcome, they will just say it. Right? So thank you so much, director. Just I think you did very well. Okay, what about our analyzer? What did she do that was great as an analyzer?
Asking questions.
Ask a lot of questions. Okay. Anyone remember anything that she actually asked that was like, wow, this one typical analyzer? Does anyone remember?
In terms of the time, I think the time spent to use the toothpaste, I think she asked, does it really matter? Even 1 minute or 2 minutes that you save time, the way you press.
Right? So she was actually listening to the details of what they were sharing, right, just now. She was listening to the details and she actually double checked. So you are a socializer, right? She wants to confirm her facts, right? So she was actually listening to a lot of details. Everything they say, she was picking it. Alright, she was really listening and picking it apart line by line, like, okay, you sure you said this, Don't suddenly go back on your word, right? You're double checking. Okay. So what else does she do that is very typical of an analyzer? She's doing it now as well.
The way she
Observing.
She analyzing.
you can see the computing, right? Okay. So analyzers are actually introverts, right? So you see how she's like standing backwards already. Right? Even though she is saying a lot about the facts, but she is still very reserved in her body language. Right? So even sometimes before they talk, you can already tell. Right? Because she kept standing backwards. Even now, I don't know if I'm a bit scared. she already keeps like taking a step back. Right? But when you actually pose her with the questions, because she's firm on her facts, her details. Right? So that is when you actually see the analyzer the most. Right? Once she's finished talking about her facts and details, she was like, okay, I don't need this space anymore, thank you. Right? So thank you so much, Sarah. That's our analyzer. These two. Okay, come forward, please. The entire conversation. Whose voice do you hear the most? Socializer, right? For I think a good 2-3 minutes at the start, right, it was just Sean, you know. He was just like, right guys, and he was like the center of attention, right? You're hearing his voice most of the time, right? He will ask this person, finish, okay, then he will say, okay, I'm listening to all of you. But right, what I think, you know, and then he comes right to the front, right? Because that's the attention grabbing spot, right? So usually what the socializer would do is not just that you make sure they are heard. They make sure they are heard, right? He actually took a step forward, like, right? I'm talking to all you guys, but you're also looking at me, right? Right? He's making sure that his presence is known, right? What else did he do that was really great as a socializer?
He talked a lot.
He
He
was
was arguing a lot when he was trying to convince them with his point of view. He was putting a lot of like things that support his argument. It doesn't matter if it was right or wrong, but he was just trying to support them.
Yeah, okay, correct. The key word, right? Don't care if it's right or wrong. It just needs to be heard first, right? This is my opinion, yeah, guys. Like, okay, you say already. But then he just starts going on. As long as you're listening to me, as long as you're actually taking in my input, right? What else did he do that was really good?
He's coordinating the conversation, controlling everything. So everyone talk, we go back to Sean, and Sean will go back to everyone.
Right, so it keeps going back to Sean, right? Because he's the one facilitating it. Right? She's the one asking questions, but he's also the one talking. He's also the one that is being heard all the time, right? So it was Sean, right? It was the Lord Sean, right? So that's what a very good thing about the socializer, right? I think what he actually did was at the very end, right, close to the end, he actually said something that was very typical of a socializer. Anyone guess what he said? Do you even know he's also guessing? So what did I say? I forget already.
Is it when I said that this one's already half won, that's what
Yeah, right? So you see, even though the situation was getting a bit intense already, you know, they really believe there is a right way to squeeze the toothpaste. Right? And then Sean just comes in and he throws in a joke suddenly. Right? Like, this one, half won already! Yeah, right? So that's very typical of a socializer as well, right? So even in very intense situations, they will want to lighten up the mood. Because they like attention, but what else do they like? Entertainment, have fun, right? They like to have fun. So they're like, yeah, okay, getting a bit tense already, okay, it's time to shine. Right? So that's what a socializer would do, right? So thank you so much. Okay. This one. Yeah, this girl was damn entertained by him, you know. Okay. What did he do really good as a relator?
The socializer was a bit noisy. Of course, he managed to grab their attention. But when he speaks, he was very calm and the same. But he makes everyone listen to him. And then the way he was talking, is like so calm and absolutely
ready for the resolution.
It was so good to listen to him.
Okay, because so his tone was very calm. Right, so he wasn't loud, even though, let's say, you were hearing Sean's voice a lot of the time. Suddenly, when there was a switch, there was a very big switch. right? From loud and then suddenly he was just very calm and soft, right? Very moderate tone. Like, okay, so, right? So that's one, his tone, right? That he did really well. Okay, let's try decide what about, what did he do well?
I think he gave examples of how to save even 10 minutes to track, even though brushing the teeth doesn't take more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So that means he throws anything to justify his argument.
To just,
Yeah.
oh, they see right through you. You throw anything to justify it. Okay, so apart from his tone, he was actually trying to find a bit of a middle ground, if you guys realized, right, just now. So when like Sean was saying a lot of this, do you remember who he agreed with actually? Sean, right? He actually agreed with Sean. But then when he was talking to Sarah, he was trying to help them find a middle ground. Yes, actually I agree with Sean, right? But then also what you saying? Like he was so calm, like the ultimate mediator, right? So what is one thing that he also did very well in that process of his mediation? What did he do like to decide these two personalities? One thing he did.
He made them feel heard.
Made them feel heard. Right? He acknowledged them. Right? Even though he didn't agree, he agreed with Sean, right? But he acknowledged what they were saying, how they felt. Right? So overall you feel like, wow, this relator, I want to listen to him. It makes me feel so calm, and right? Because he was actually trying to make sure there was not as much conflict. Got a bit tense already. He felt like, I cannot stay silent. Just take a step in their mouth, they might fight, who knows, right? But what was the beginning of it? Before he finally opened his mouth, right? What was he doing the entire time?
Listening.
Observing, right? So he was just silent. I saw this group was just laughing. Like, oh, look at him, really relating to what they're saying, right? But what was his body language? Sean was up front, right? Sean was like, yes, ready. What was he doing? What was he like?
He stepped back.
He was in the back.
To give the stage to Sean.
Right, so the more Sean stepped in, the more he's like, okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead, have the floor, right? So he actually was really listening, right? So just now that was the first thing we talked about, right? For relators, they always listen to what other people have to say first, right? And then they still want to be heard, right? But they will pick the right moments. Oh no, it's a bit too much conflict now. I think I have to step in. Okay guys, so everyone calm down. There is a solution to this. Right, so that's what our relator did well. Okay, thank you so much. Was there anything that you guys, in your discussions earlier, would have done different? Like when you were having your discussions. Was there anything you guys want to share that you guys discussed and it was a very different outcome from the personality type that you saw? Maybe?
It isn't worth to argue with this.
About the toothpaste. I'm asking about the personality type. She's not happy. Really not happy. Right. So when you guys were actually discussing, was it all roughly around this, or was there something you guys would have done differently?
Kind of the same.
Got another group. All around the same. So you just agree with me lah, so I won't ask you any more questions. Okay. Right? Okay. So this is the first scenario, right, that we've tried out already. So let's see now, let's just do a very quick mini quiz to see how well we are with the personalities. Okay, just a little check-in. Okay? So I'm going to show you a scenario or a picture or whatever, right? From there, I want you guys to just identify what personality type, okay, that is. So let's try the first one. Right? In this scenario, the person is saying, are you okay? I'm here for you. Tell me what you need. Later. Any violent objections? Different answer. All agree. Relater. Right? So relater, okay lah. Correct. Right? So what about this screams relator to you? Sorry?
Comforting.
Very comforting, okay, in the words that they're using.
They're looking at the person itself.
Okay, so they're actually reaching out to that person, right? So what is the focus of this personality type?
People.
The people, right? So the words they use, the actions that they are carrying out is very people focused. Are you okay? Or I'm here for you, right? Anything else about the relator that you see from here?
He's reaching to one person at a time. Reaching to one person at a time.
Reaching to one person at a time. Okay, so in this case it is very personal, right? They go directly to the person, right? So usually for relator, what if example right now in this room there's quite a few of us, right? And you see somebody struggling, or like actually a bit off lah today, a bit upset. What do you think the relator would do?
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Right? But probably will do it during the break, right? Just now, they will probably be very quiet, they were observing you already. Like just now, Akil, right? She was just standing and observing, right? So they're already taking notice, right? But after that, they will actually go outside and they will ask you separately on their own in the corner, right? Like, hey, I saw just now you look a bit like tired, right? Are you okay? Like, tell me what you need. Can I support you? Right? So usually that's the gist of relator lah. Okay? So small group always very focused on the person. Okay, next one. I don't know if you guys know this movie lah, but I loved it a lot as a kid.
I don't know. Really?
Second one? Yeah, I didn't watch the second
One or
one.
two?
You're right. Okay, guess what is this personality type?
Socializer.
Socializer. Okay, why did you say socializer? She did a lot of things that a socializer would do.
Too bright.
Okay, anyone want to try?
She stopped everything just so she can have one conversation and walk away.
Right, so she grabs everyone's attention, right? So even the way she walks, right, the way she carries herself. Anyone? Anyone else want to share? Why is she a socializer?
She loves the attention.
She actually enjoys the attention, right? Okay, what else did she do? Okay, in her conversation that she was having, right, what did she do was typical socializer.
She didn't care about
Asked
that
something,
part.
but she didn't listen to what the guy said. She was like,
Yeah, okay, so you same point lah, right? Basically, you ask one question, right, and then she was immediately distracted already.
Yeah.
She was just looking at something else, right? So socializers is because their energy is always so high. They're always up there. They like just now we said it's a social butterfly, right? If you're not matching the energy, they're moving on already, right? So sometimes they ask you a question, they're immediately distracted by something else. Something else is more exciting already. Sure, you're laughing because it's like that, is it? So, right, they're already immediately distracted by something else, and then by the time he answers the question, she's just like, okay. Walks off already. Right? She's not even bothered by what you have to say, right? Because was his energy as high as hers? No, right? Even the way she asked the question, she was all excited, and he was like, okay. He was just talking to her, right? Okay, so she's like, not bothered already. Immediately distracted, right? So those are some things about our socializer lah, right? Okay. So just now we talked about all these different personality types, right? So how do you think then we can actually effectively communicate with them? Now that we know more about them, we know how to identify already, right? All the different traits of a personality type. How can we best communicate and connect with these personality types? Any guesses?
that is what you want to know.
She's like, don't ask me the question, that's why I'm here. Any guesses?
I think maybe try to be on the same wavelength as them.
Try to be on the same wavelength.
Yeah. So especially, I think I can take an example like analyzers when you wanna talk to them have as much detail as possible. So just come and say, okay, here's all the details.
Okay.
Can you do this? Yeah.
So you're saying match them, match the personality type, right? Anyone else have any?
I tend to disagree a little bit, especially if you are with a socializer, you can't steal the limelight from them. Then you are probably be seen as, I don't know, is that correct, contradicting to taking the attention away from them? Is that the right analysis?
Yeah, okay, fair. Because like what you say, okay, well, I keep pointing to him. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
The limelight, I give you, okay. Right, because usually our, let's say example, socializer, they like the limelight so much. So if you steal the limelight away from them, that may not be the best way, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So just like, is that true? I should look at you for confirmation, understanding. So Akil is saying it's because in order to be able to connect best with them is I want to match them, right? And then what Cheryl is saying that, maybe if I want to match them, that may not be ideal as well.
Or I rephrase it in a way that I actually give them the limelight in order to connect with them.
In order to
that
connect them.
could be the positive approach rather than to go against that. I support it.
Okay, good. So they actually just now bring down time and check my slides. Right, so yeah, really a key to actually connecting with them is being like them because you want to be on the same understanding. Right, so you know how sometimes when you're struggling with something, like nobody understands me, no one is listening to me, they don't know what I'm going through, right? See, I know I'm everybody's inside right now, right? So it's really because when you are matching that person, they feel heard, they feel understood, then they want to connect with you a bit more. They feel like this person actually cares about what I'm saying, or they care about what I care about, right? So from there, you feel like a little key unlock already to the conversations that you may possibly actually have with them, right? So what you want to do is, because there are so many different kind of situations, so many different kind of people, right? So we always say that's why you want to be a bit of a comedian, right? So when you want to match them, you need to feel actually this socializer, how extreme of a socializer are they actually, right? So the first thing you need to do is obviously you need to be able to identify. So I just now we had the questions, right, to identify them. Then from there, you want to see how can we actually be like them and match their energy, right, in order to be able to connect better with them. So I want to ask here, just now I heard a lot of protest, when I say find your dominant personality, only can have one, at least one. Everyone's like, this is not mine lah, I don't want to take the hat. Right, so is it difficult? Do you guys actually find it difficult to, let's say, must be socializer already. Right, so let's say if you're a socializer, do you actually find it difficult to talk to, let's say, an analyzer? Or let's say if you're an analyzer or socializer?
Yes.
Yes? What do you feel is difficult about that?
To get the other person to listen to what you're saying.
To get the other person to even listen. So to actually even have that conversation, make it two-way, is it? That's what you feel is the most difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that so? Anyone can help. It's mine as well.
Because sometimes when the other person is telling you something, it's not clear. It's not difficult to it's a misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding.
Yeah, misunderstanding.
Okay. So a lot of the time the struggle is that even you can identify already, you don't understand that personality type. Right? So that is actually a very common struggle. Right? So when we first said director just now, I saw a lot of people pull back a little bit. Right? So a lot of people think directors are the toughest people to deal with. Right? They're always so demanding, they want a certain thing, it must be their way. Right? If I can have a choice, maybe the one to deal with the director. Right? Because people actually immediately feel like I cannot connect with them, or I don't see the same wavelength as them. I'm not like that. That's what the terms, right, that people always use. Right? So actually, the real issue is really that, like what Isma shared, is a misunderstanding. You don't understand what they want, what their objective is, and then that's why you struggle to connect with them. Right? So just now when we were going through actually what the traits are, is already a little bit of a tip of what are points that you can connect with them on. Right? So just now, okay, let's just go through some of the characteristics again, a recap. So our relator are people-oriented introverts, right? So some of these traits is that they really are easygoing, usually, because they don't like conflict. So even just now, like the tone like Akil carries, very easygoing, very calm, right? They are eager to please, because they don't like conflict, right? They like people liking them. Right? I see the relators all there like smiling to themselves. So I'm also quite a bit of a relator, right? So I always will go and check in on what your thoughts. No, really, what are your thoughts? Are you really not happy with this? Can you tell me why? Right? So a struggle for relator is that because they are constantly always looking out, right, for other people's, how do you think is the best way then I can connect with this relator? How to make this relator feel understood?
I could talk the same language or same wavelength, something in common. The choice of words.
Choice of words.
How you explain things. The things may have to be more clarity when you explain things so that the other guy can connect.
Can connect. Okay.
And so you have to spend more time with this relator because he or she wants to listen to you, so you cannot be in rush. So you have to sit down and spend time and talk because he wants to be understood.
Yes. So actually among all four of these personalities, the one that will take the most time to connect with is the relator. Right? Because they don't open up as quickly. They want to listen to you. They want to know your thoughts first, right? They don't want to say anything because they don't like conflict. They want to hear what you have to say first. Right? So just now that's why what Isma shared, the words you use are very important because they are listening. Right? So how you convey your message, how you convey about how you feel about the situation, they are very on alert about it. They are actually trying to gauge where you're at, and then they are trying to meet where you are at. Right? But a common thing then is for the relator, because they are always thinking about pleasing other people, sometimes they feel a bit left out. Right? So you see, even just now in the like Gunung Kinabalu situation. Why you that good one already?
No, relator look at relator.
So because they are always usually trying to gauge where other people are at, right? So the Gunung Kinabalu situation, they are asking already, oh, who else is going? Oh, do you really want to go? Oh, you're very excited. Oh, you want me to go, is it? Okay lah, I'll try my best. They may not necessarily actually want to go, right? But it's because all their friends want them to go. Then they're like, hello, I want to make my friends happy also. So they don't think about themselves. They're a bit more selfless lah in that sense. So when you connect with them, try and flip it around. Try and ask them how they feel, right? Because for once, somebody actually cares about me. Right? Relators will feel like, oh, I'm being heard. I'm always caring so much about what other people think. So very nice when people care about me. So that is when they actually feel a sense of connection. Right? So that's one of the tips lah, right? For a relator, you can actually reach out to them before they reach out to you. Right? But this one takes a bit of time lah, right? You're too loud, they will back off. Right? So with relator, you need to be a bit more gentle, more calm. Yeah? Okay. What about this one? Our socializer. So people focus extroverts, right? What's their favorite thing? Connecting with people, right? Why Just now what what did Sean do a lot?
To be center.
Go to the center. Right?
Attention.
Their favorite thing is attention. Right? They're loud, right? Because why they're trying to get attention, right? It's because they like to be heard. Right? So just now the other one, the relator, they like to listen to other people. This one is they like to be heard. Right? So when our socializer likes attention so much, what should we do to connect with them?
Give attention.
Give them attention lah. Very straightforward, right? They like attention, we give attention. Right? So like for example, just now what Cheryl was saying right? If they like attention so much, I cannot go and steal their attention, right? Suddenly it will backfire, right? But how can I actually then be able to connect with them, right? They are loud, their energy is very high. I can match that, but I give them the attention, right? So for example, if let's say Sean, you go to a party, right? You have a lot of friends, right? You have a lot of friends. So if I also want to be a friend of Sean's, what can I do?
Trying to convince his friends.
Convince his friends? Oh, this one is like the black alley kind of method. Right? Because let's say Sean has attention already, right? But then I want to connect with him. Right now I'm not in that circle yet. What can I do to connect with Sean?
Join in the friends.
Join in, have fun. Hype him up. Oh, I see he's giving you tips already. Right? So usually because even though they are at the center of the attention, because they will go and grab the attention. Right? What you can do if you've never actually spoken to them before? Go and talk to them lah. Ask them about themselves. Right? What are things you can talk to a socializer about that will get them excited?
Appearance.
Hey, Jaya, where you get it from? Right? Then he'll tell, I tell you, this one very hard to get, limited edition. Then they will start to share with you. Right? Because for the relator, you need to dig a bit deeper before they will open up to you. But the socializer, you just knock and then they will open the door already. So they are very willing to share. Right? So socializers are actually easier to connect with. Right? If you are able to match that kind of energy lah. Right? Yeah.
So in the
Questions?
social setting, okay, but how in the work setting, like, where you have to make a decision? So how do you communicate with the socializer? Because he's always in the fun mode and all. How to put him in place you need to make a decision. So how to come?
Okay, before I answer, anyone have any tips to share? Let's say you have a socializer, right, in the room. They're very excited. You're trying to calm this person down so I can do my job, right? So what do you think you can do now that you know a bit better?
You humor them. You match their the jokes and energy, and then going back to our topic. Now we just you give them what they want, and then you just grab their attention. That there is a decision to make.
I always do that, right?
Yeah.
So usually it's like because they want to have fun while they work. They feel like why can't I have fun while I work? Okay, what, right? So they'll throw jokes in here and there. You don't like what you say because they like attention. You want to give attention. You want to acknowledge them, right? So when they crack a joke, laugh lah.
Yeah.
Right? Don't just that and then okay, yeah, no, not funny. That's not what we're talking about right now. Then straight away, right, the energy from here just drop already. Correct or not? So when you want to connect with the socializer because they're throwing jokes and everything, you acknowledge a bit, you laugh a bit, right? So they also feel like, okay, this person is getting on my level, they're having fun with me. Then you pull them back. Okay, hey, very good with your jokes. I want to hear about it later on, yeah? Hey, but actually what about this? Actually, you come back here for a while, right? Or maybe we want to focus on this first, right? So acknowledge, then you bring them back to the center, right?
For
So
a moment before they go back.
yeah, correct. So you will need to refocus them a lot, right? Let's say, what are things you can help to capture the attention to refocus them, for example. Let's say if I have a 50 slide PowerPoint report I want to present to my socializer CEO. Right? But I feel it's all very important. The 50 slides not cause I want, cause got a lot of important information. Then how? What can I do?
Put pictures.
Put pictures. Okay.
Straight to the point.
More colors, right? Pictures. You make it a bit more fun.
Energizers,
More
do some
videos.
games, make him move.
Make it. So you are trying to make it exciting for him, right? So not so one-dimensional, because very distracted, right? Very easily distracted, right? So if a lot is happening here already, they will gravitate more towards here, right? Because this is more happening than the other things, right? So one way is, okay, use colors, right? Use colors, use pictures, right? Activities. What else? 50 slide, 50 slide report.
Can we have it a few days, not one day?
Days,
I'm
you
sure.
can only get the socializer one time. You don't make the first impression gone already.
I think maybe highlight specific parts that you want them to look at as
Highlight
the most important.
Highlights details. Not too many details, because they don't care about the details so much, right? Because you are only able to capture their attention for so long, right? They're very easily distracted. Use colors, right? Use pictures, but then the holy grail of a report, right? That is the most important for a socializer is a key summary. Right, key summary. So you tell me out of the 50 slides, maybe 3 slides, out of the 3 to 5 slides, what is the main point? What's the main thing I want to tell them? Right? So really be very sure of what are your key things you need. You for sure you need your socializer to be focused on. Right? And then everything else, throw in the appendix. Put in the appendix. If later on you have time, you actually want to get to know more about what we're saying, you can look into the details yourself. So you still provide it to them, right? But key summary. So you can only capture them for so long, correct? And then you want to make sure, even in your presentation of it, there is pictures, there is some colors, right? Because otherwise, imagine if it's just all words, right? Gone. Straight away, like, okay, this is very boring, get me out. Right? So you want to think about, again, what they enjoy, right? They enjoy attention. So, when they throw jokes, laugh, right? when you want them to focus, how can I get them to focus? Okay? So that's for our socializer. Our analyzer.
Lots of data.
Lots of data. Right? They enjoy having a lot of data. They usually, people who enjoy having systems a lot more. Right? Building systems. So, for example, right, when I first came in, I first started working at Eastin, I remember one of my early tasks, right, for a project was to develop SOPs for a company. Yeah. So I remember when I went home, I was telling my dad, I have to do this new thing, I've never done it before, I'm so excited to get started. Then I was like, what's this? Then he asked me to show it. So he's a socializer, right? I opened my laptop, I was like, I have to develop all of this SOPs for this company, such detail. I was showing him all my different Excel sheets I've already developed to help my process. I was trying to explain everything to him. Tell you, after the first 5 minutes, I see his eyes just drift off already. Was it? Okay. Oh, you're still talking about the SOPs? Okay. I was trying so hard to understand me, but he didn't enjoy the processes like I did, right? But imagine for an analyzer like me, right? I enjoy all these processes so much. Suddenly, somebody come in and tell me, hey, actually I have a tip for you, how to make this, to streamline your process. Yeah, exactly. That was my reaction. So I was like, okay, let's talk more. Right? Because they are talking about what I'm interested in, which is details, right? They are willing to go into the details with me, right? They are willing to build certain kind of systems with me, right? Which are all things that analyzers are very willing to connect on, right? Yeah, okay, so they also are usually a bit more of a perfectionist for analyzers right? Because they like details so much, they actually go and check the details, right? So here, I want to ask my analyzers, right? What what are tips you can share to the rest of the people here that you really feel to talk to people about? Is there anything apart from what I already said lah? Well,
basically you have covered everything. Like for me, I need details. And when it comes to work, I need some kind of seriousness.
She kept looking at me right now. By the way lah.
And I always have a system, a proper way of doing something, like processes. I need to have that.
Need to have the
I need to
processes,
have that.
right? Correct. So let's say right, in the setting, because when I started I was more analyzer before I gravitated to a relator, right? When I started I was very, very process driven. So when in a situation, when suddenly I'm trying something new, I'm like, oh, I need to study first, I need to prep first, right? And then I was doing training for the first time. But I didn't know I was doing the training until very last minute. So I was like, you want me to do it when? The next round is it? No, after this break you can try.
I got that in my first training as well.
Alright, so you understand what
and Raymond was there observing the training.
Right? You just happily, you thought like, oh, okay, I'm supporting this training, I'm also listening, I'm like learning, then suddenly surprise, after this you do huh? What do you mean? Right, so let's say in that situation, how can you connect or help to support this analyzer? It's an opportunity, right? Because this analyzer is waving the red flag already there. Help me please. Right, so what can you do, let's say in that situation, to connect with this analyzer?
You explain everything to them?
Explain everything? What do you mean by
From
that?
A to Z, like how it's gonna be, and then what possibilities that could happen during the event itself, and things like that.
Okay.
So that they are assured of what might happen.
Assured. It's what we want, reassurance. Right? So why does an analyzer prepare so much?
Because they don't want to miss out anything.
They don't want to miss out anything. They're a bit of a perfectionist, right? So at that point, right, imagine my initial reaction is just, oh my god, I don't know what to do, help. I'm like, there's 10 minutes left for this break. You cannot tell me the beginning of the break, is it? So like all these thoughts are going through my mind, But then, in that moment, if somebody actually came up to me and reassured me, okay, don't worry, I know we have 10 minutes left, let me give you a crash course. What you can expect, right? What are tips that will help you, right? So, okay, if let's say, right, the train later, the slides suddenly go off, you don't know what to say, what can I actually do, right? Rohan, you're very famous, you've been mentioned many times already. Oh! Right? So imagine if let's say, right, for me in that moment, somebody came to me and gave me just a 5-minute crash course. Okay, these are the 3 things you must definitely do. Confirm will help you one. How do you think I will feel? Can breathe a little bit. Yeah. I always tell that every time I say, you want to try something, then I say, oh my god, okay lah, I will do it. Okay, I do it. Then after that, right, they ask me, how do you actually feel? My heart was sweating, just now. Then they're just like, oh, heart sweating. I'm like 24/7. Right? So actually, what can really help, right? Like what you guys said lah, give a bit of reassurance, right? You don't leave everything as a question mark, right? And then that for the analyzer is already like, oh my god, thank God for this person in my life, right? Okay, so that is our analyzer. So our director, just now we said, she a director, want it right now, correct or not? So they are very, they're task oriented, but they're also extroverts, right? So they just now we saw our director, very willing to voice out, right, what he believes in, what he feels is the best way, right? They are direct, right? They are direct, but then also just now earlier we mentioned they need a bit. They will like to have control, right? They will like to have control, right? So they are a bit more fast-paced because they're thinking about what? End result. Right? They love results, right? That is the main objective. So They are very results driven, so they're usually more fast paced. Let's get to the point faster. Right, so just now everyone was talking, sharing. Our director here was like, okay, so recap. Right, this is how I think is the best way going forward. Okay, agree, check, all not down, okay, let's move on. Right, so results driven, right? And then they want, so as a saying, right, they always say, sometimes I want things yesterday, right, immediately, as soon as possible. I can reach that result, I want to get there fast, right? So let's say, director, just now, I think there was a few of us that said, yo, a bit nervous actually when I deal with my directors, right? What do you think you can do, right? Just thinking about right now, just now, when you were reflecting, what do you think you can do to connect with your directors best?
Anything that you say, you must connect it to the results or the outcome that you target.
So again, because they like results, you connect it back to the results, right? So if let's say, just now during the presentation, right, the same thing, we are presenting the report to a director. How can I achieve the end result?
Show the results first.
Show the results first.
This is what we're doing, and how to go there. This is.
Okay. This one must be a pro at handling the directors. They want results. So first thing you give them is the results itself already, right? So straight away highlight to them. Okay. At the end of this report, right, this presentation, I am going to give you what you want, right, which is the result itself already. Then let me just go through very quickly how I'm going to get to the result, right? So they also have that reassurance, because they don't like sloppiness, right? So we are actually, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to do all of this to make sure you get the results that you want to get, right? As a director, how do you feel? Yes, thank you. Don't waste my time, right? Correct or not? Right? So, okay, now that we have gone through, okay lah, I didn't want to give you guys answers just now, okay? So, just a recap, right? To connect with our relator, right? We want to let them be heard as well, right? So, sometimes you ask the relator also, before the relator asks you, how are you doing? Switch the tables around. How are you doing? You okay or not today? And you feel like, people care about me as well, right? So, because they're very people focused, right? So you want to think about what are really their real needs, okay? So that's how you can connect with a relator, right? For our socializer, do you remember or not? How to connect with them?
Attention.
Give them attention.
Give them attention now, right? Go laughter in the back. Right? Rohan, your name came out wrong times. So just now we said, I asked them, so what is a socializer like, Rohan? Socializer like Rohan. Right? So they like to, they really care about people, right? So they like the attention, they like making jokes, right? So when they make jokes, what do you do? Laugh, right? So don't lie, you let them tell the joke, you know, they're like, oh, they're so hyped up, right? They share with you the joke and then just
join in.
Okay, moving on. Oh my goodness, I'm not hurt, right? So you actually want to engage them, right? So when they make a joke, you laugh.
Yeah, really now.
Right? So when they talk to you, right, they are trying to get to know you better, right? So things you can engage with them on is, let's say, talking about hobbies. Oh really? You like football? What's your favorite team? Oh, good enough question already. They will go. Right? They will carry the conversation. Right? So these are things you can do. Right? So just now also Sean, our popular socializer of today as well, right? He was talking, he had such high energy, he was trying to engage with every single one of the other people, right? So what you can do, match that energy, right? They are giving out so much, give them back a little bit also, right? So matching the energy. They do not like details, right? Just now we say it's like butterfly, they just go from one to the other very quick, right? So you need to capture that butterfly. So what can I do? Usually, be a bit more direct, highlight what are the main things, key points I need you to focus on right now, right? Because they are not fussed about the details of things. Okay? So for our analyzer, what about our analyzer? How to connect with them?
Details.
Details, organize.
Our analyzer here, give me the details. Right? So just now, we talk about the, obviously, right, they love details, you give them details lah, right? So prepare well. When you go into a meeting with the analyzer, what is very important before you even go into the meeting with them? Preparation, right? What do you need to communicate with this analyzer?
Facts, figures, graphs.
Facts, figures, graph, right? What about before you go in? What can I already communicate to my analyzer?
Give me the details of the meeting, what time, where the meeting,
The
what to
meeting
bring.
itself, right? What to bring. Not just you prepare, you know. I'm the analyzer, I also want to be well prepared. Right? So you tell me lah, what do you want from me in this meeting? Right? Just now we said got all these surprises, right? They don't like the surprises. They like bit of reassurance. Right? So when you go in, you are prepared to engage with this analyzer, but also give them the reassurance so that they know what to expect. Right? So when you create a calendar for them, put lah the agenda, put lah what the objective is, what I'm expecting from you. So they can also be prepared, right? And then that's how you make sure there's a productive engagement with your analyzer. Alright?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, what about the director? How to best connect? Results, right? So they like the results just now. We already talked about it lah, right? Highlighting the added value, right? So big picture, what is the results in itself? Tell them first, this is the results. Start with the results. Yeah? Start with the results, right? And then to the point, very quick as well, because they're very fast paced, right? I don't need to know exactly how you are going to do it. You're spending 15 minutes now, 10 minutes later, 30 minutes later in the day. I don't need to know all that. I just need to know, can you get my results? You have a plan to get my results already? Okay, good. Okay. Tell me when it's the time already. You're gonna present these results to me. Right? So again, this one be brief, to the point, very direct with them. Right? Match their energy. This one, right? Because just now we said they like a bit of control, our directors. They demand the authority. Right? Correct? So it's usually how you can do this by engaging them is also be respectful lah. Because they do demand a bit of authority, right? Be respectful of their authority. Don't show that you are very scared. Right? So for example, right? I am making a phone call. So this one is a sales table, right? So you're making a phone call, right, to a CEO of a company, right? And then the PA pick up the phone, but the PA is a director style, right? What do I need to do in order to secure an appointment through this PA? My director PA. What can I do? What value can you give to the director? Okay. What value can I give to the director? So you communicate basically what value it is for me to even be having this meeting with you. Okay. What else?
Direct to the details.
Straight away to
Why
the details.
and objective.
Okay. So if let's say it's a director PA, right? You call me for the first time. You want something from me, correct? I just need to know what it is. Very simple, right? So like what you said, you go in, you already need to have the details already lah, right? Okay, I want to meet him on this day. Is he available? No, he's not available. Then what can you do? Alternative. So you are prepared, right? Because they don't have time to waste. They want to straight away, right? Be brief to the point. Let's say you are calling in to this PA, right? Then the PA, very strong, right? Straight away said, okay, no, my CEO is not available this week to meet you. Oh, okay. In that case, right? Next week can. Is he free? How do you think this PA? No, right? Just straight away no, right? Because then they're like, okay, you don't know what you want. You don't even know what you want. Don't need now. Don't waste my time. Right? So again, coming back to the director, they like the results fast, and they are very straightforward, and you have to be firm as well. Carry that respect, right? So both ways lah, right? So don't show your afraid lah. If you're already like I don't know how to talk to you, hey, don't talk to me then. Right? So basically, that's how a director usually will be. Okay? Any questions you guys have so far? All clear? They're all like, don't know what she wants to do now. Alright. So now that we have gone through how to identify personality types, right? And then we've also gone through how we can actually approach to connect with them better, right? Let's practice a little bit more, right? So let's switch it around, right? We're still going to do a role play, but this time I want you guys to pick a hat that is not your dominant. So right, so just now you guys were practicing what you were comfortable with, right? I will suggest for you to try and pick one that you are really not comfortable with, so that you can already start practicing.
Not dominant.
Not dominant. So
The least one.
the least. If you can try to have the least, right?
You're accountant, so it should be okay.
At least one of each, yeah? At least one of each in the group, So one relator, one socializer, one analyzer, one director. At least I don't suddenly tell me, oh, don't have, missing already.
Analyzer.
Okay?
Not this one. Oh, your red colour is it? No. Your this one is what?
If you need a different head colour, just let Kai know.
You need red colour?
You need different colour?
Yes.
So example, if you're a socializer, maybe the one you're most uncomfortable with is an analyzer. Don't know how to communicate with this person. Alright, so maybe now's the time for you guys to practice. Okay? All good, everyone? Everyone has already picked the person.
Either this one or that one. You?
There's at least one of each, yeah? This
One
table
red colour
no,
can
don't
take
have
this
an
one.
analyzer.
Okay, red colour?
Got one.
Which one you want? Merah satu.
Good, all good? Okay.
Oh, so many.
Okay.
Just want to have fun.
Just want to have fun. Okay. So now that you guys all have your hats already, just now all of us did the same scenario. Now each group will be doing a different one lah. Okay, so if you guys can take out your phones, I'm just going to show you your scenario. You just screenshot it for your discussion. Okay. Group A is this one, right?
Oh, but we don't have.
So this will be your scenario. You just screenshot first. We'll go through it later.
Let me lah.
Okay. Alright. Yeah. So group B. Group B, this is your scenario. Take a picture of it.
B?
Okay. Group C, this is yours.
Okay.
Okay, alright. So, what I want you guys to do right now, because these are more work scenarios versus just now, very fun lah, just press the toothpaste, right? So now this imagine if you are the leaders or the managers, right, of your company, and you need to have these conversations. Again, think about practicing the personality type that you are currently, the hat that you're wearing. Okay? if you guys have any questions, raise up. Nobody here really. I mean, we need one later. Alright. Okay, so I'll give you guys about 10 minutes. So really think about role playing out your situation. So later each group will come to the front and then role play out how you're handling that situation amongst yourself. Okay, any questions you guys have, just raise up your hand. Alright, give you about 10 minutes.
Okay, so basically one project, the ship set back in time. So how we can catch up to the original project. So based on your personality.
So here, for me, it's you set the timeline first. So if I went,
For you
how
would
long?
be, I think, next steps. You would decide the next step.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, you're listening. But there's more than just listening that's happening. I think for you would be analyzing what can be done.
Yeah.
And you just make the decision. And we both
So,
okay, so I'm doing it already. Yeah. So how can we catch up to this original? I think the first and foremost is see how long do we have from this one line? Let's say maybe
let's say 1 month.
1 month.
So 1 month. So
now we have
so when you start the call,
Yeah, so you guys are having a
duration,
discussion
ending.
basically, and then but you are having that discussion as the personality.
Oh my god, my brain already
How you going to
analyze it.
the outcome can
Step
be
back,
whatever
how
you
we
want.
can get over it.
So this is originally the start, then we ending, so durations. But now we have this delay. We have to catch up, right? So for catching up, so we need to know what is the balance time we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let's say we have 2 minutes.
yeah. So then we have to start with this time. Then we need to know what we can do. Then you have to start.
I think my set will be what is the bottleneck? Bottleneck. What is the thing that is stopping us from completing the project?
Cannot bring them back to the point.
Okay. Once we get there, how long do we need to? How long do we need to complete this particular task?
How are we supposed to address this?
Actually, should we try and just make a fake project? Let's say this is my quad, okay? This is a communication material. So project.
I think several other companies who actually employ looking at several examples of other companies who have actually employed similar situations where allow
This
flexible
end deadline is to submit to
similar background to
client.
whatever situation you're in.
Final product.
I actually saw that once they actually allowed this flexible working hours, number one, performance drop. Number two,
First, yours is identified.
For me, I think I would say I'll tell you what I want first. Yeah. So for me, I would say this can be delayed, even that we are now is far behind the project deadline.
So maybe you can
So
try to
what I
justify
want is to
how
just
this will
catch
actually
up to meet the
benefit.
deadline, no matter what.
Wow.
Sounds so cool, right? No matter what. Like that. Because I don't want to change the deadline with the client to get more power.
So like, yeah.
Covering his head. There's my what I want.
So then now I come to what is pending from your side. Okay, what is pending from your side? What is thing that is stopping us from into the okay, and then how long do you need to actually
How
complete
about
that
we
particular
enjoy
task? How long do
try
you
some
need?
form of test period.
And then with that,
You try flexible
then
hours
later
per
comes in.
month.
Yeah, trying to apply
This
your
diffuse
problems,
situation.
trying to find
Okay.
evidence.
And then eventually, if it's not okay, then you make a call again.
in between you all will find out.
Yeah.
Right? Because relator will be
You find it common now, okay.
because you all will always try to go out of topic. So relator will try to bring it back at before when they close the
For me, it's like
you decide
for
starting.
me, the most important is the thing is how you guys catch up. It's ready in on like timeline or not, and the rest of the details I won't get that much, but I can get what I want to do.
So I think I would both Catherine and I would try consolidation.
But you all have to
Which one?
Yes.
Still, I don't get it. What is that?
So basically we have a project. It's right now we have a huge setback because of technical challenges, right? And then we are discussing how we can catch up to the original project because our director doesn't want to delay this deadline that
I don't want to nego with the client saying that we would like to extra time to postpone this, delay the time for that.
Yeah.
Shall we start? I am a director. I am patient.
My expectation is to that.
So right now our comms materials project, we have only 2 weeks left to send this out. Unfortunately, due to the technical challenges that we face, which is first and foremost, some of the clients' team are currently out of work right now, and also due to so right what can we do right now? For me, I think what we can do is specifically let's try and collect whatever data that we currently have, and then we'll try and just churn something out. Because at this point, it's better to have something that's nothing at all. And at least over time, at least even towards the end of the line, we can do something and we can just keep adding on and refining it. We everything is there and then we try to churn something out. We only have 2 weeks now.
You're not talking like a relator.
Correct. I think you just highlighted the issue from so she can't do it in time and then the customer needs and everything because you will try to confuse you are then there's like sending a review and say we need it by this so she comes then I will try to see what how we can work and then from there we'll take it over.
She decided.
I just need to
Not me, it's like you more to like asking them to do things. It's like
just telling about the problem.
What idea you have? Okay, tell me. Do you have anything to say or things like that? And I'm more happy I just listen.
You guys done already or still need a bit more time?
We're running through it. Okay. So right now, how do we catch up to our original project timeline? So this is quite a big problem, right? I'm just trying to see what we can do.
If you're going like that, maybe we can start saying, we have another 2 weeks to submit. But we still have not completed this. You always focus on
Oh, we have 2 socializers.
No, he initiates first, then after you come, then the relator will actually try to engage both.
Maybe we have 2 socializers.
Yeah, then relator will engage both of them. Say, what is your issue? What is my issue?
Okay. So, we only have 2 weeks left for this thing. What are we gonna do to solve this? Like,
by first, anticipation is problem.
Yeah.
We have another 2 weeks to run the training, but until now we have not.
Look at you being a relator. This moment you're trying to negotiate the whole thing.
I was a relator before.
So you still have a relator. Okay, you have to step in the relator. You have
I have to step in. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said usually but we need to listen first before actually negotiating. But let's say what is boss? What is your problem?
I will say I don't want to. If we are 2 weeks late or behind the deadline.
So you want the deadline to be on time.
I want everything on time. I don't want to like nego with client about reschedule or whatever.
What is making your house difficult? Your life difficult?
I think we just don't have enough time. So
You want time?
yeah, I want time.
What do you think about the process? For the process what is the process that you need to finalize this obstacle? Like how long do it? Yeah, because you are the analyzer.
Then you need to re-inform, adjust your
You need process. You need to identify the problem and then you try to look at it.
And then you must be able to at 9 lah. You can actually 9 to 6 then you come at 9:30 then.
I think you will ask for tickets. You will ask for more information.
So you start asking me what is the problem, what are the deadlines that we have.
Oh, so I ask you, I don't ask him.
You ask
because
everyone.
I am talking about that I am since it directly to
how solving happen.
So I think first we have to identify what is the issue. What are the issues we have at stake?
Okay, so our issue is that there is no enough time and we don't have enough people. So how can we do this without dealing with the deadline?
And then you come late and then you justify you work extra half hour. But
so they ask me how many people do I actually have now and what is the deadline, how many days do we have for the deadlines. You can ask
But I
me.
think that is where he started. He has already told what we already 2 weeks.
He already did that.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
No, basically I go and I say, okay, I think we have like maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Correct. So he has already identified the issue.
2 weeks. So now we have 2 weeks and we have this number of people, let's say 5. So this is the details that we have, the project. Let's say I send you already the details about the project progress. So now you have your details. Now you need to come up with a plan. That's it.
Okay, 1 more minute,
So I
wrap
think
it up.
the analyzer needs the details, right?
I guess you already
He needed
said
I
details.
need the
He
details. I will be
needed
asking you the
details.
details.
He was asking you
So whatever
details.
you bring out, he will ask regarding.
Yes. So you actually using your analyzer, telling him what he need to do.
So that question I'll have to ask.
Okay, ask me.
Okay.
Ask me.
But that's the thing, because he brings up the issue, I will be asking him. I'll be asking him what are the things that he is stopping from achieving or getting this particular result.
So then I will say.
So when it stands when I'm questioning, then you come in to actually mediate.
Start asking.
Then say, if this is the method that we need, last time we have done it really well. So why not use the same method?
Then the supervisor will be patopi.
No lah, cannot lah, we can't do this by this time and everything. Then you say, hey, why not?
Okay, everyone ready? Alright, okay. Which group wants to volunteer first? Every time I also volunteer, I was sure. Nobody want to look at me effort there. Which group wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Don't lah, make me choose.
Hey, you go first.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Okay, so to give a bit of context to the other groups.
We have to go in front of
Are you going front or you stay here?
Come to the front. Okay, so group C, their situation is basically there's an issue with punctuality, right? Employees are constantly not on time.